Taping over smooth or level and unlevel ground. Before we begin, the surveyors must check first their instruments or materials, and those are the plumb bulbs, range poles, measuring tape, and the markers that could be chalk or marking pins. Let us now move on to its procedure, where the first procedure is to assign the surveyors the roles. For each roles, have their own designated task to fulfill an organized taping. After assigning roles, the first step in this fieldwork for the level ground is surveyors now should mark the endpoints by a chalk if it is on pavement or by a marking pins if it is on soft ground, and designate it as endpoints A and B. Next, the range pole man will hold the pole vertically and steadily during the entire taping procedure at B to keep the complete taping process aligned and straightened. The tape will be stretched out on the ground on the straight path along A to B, where the rear tape man is the one guiding the front tape man, and the front tape man is responsible to pull the tape taut once the tape is aligned already, holding its zero end along with the marking pins. Front tape man gets a pin and sticks it vertically in the ground, exactly opposite the 0-meter mark of the tape. Both the front and the rear tape man will lift simultaneously the tape and move forward along the line AB to measure the next tape length. By now, the rear tape man holds one marking pin, which signifies one tape length.
The step 3 to 5 is repeated to complete the next tape length measurement. Make sure that the rear tape man pulls the pin before lifting the tape to move on to the next tape length. The rear tape man now holds two marking pins to connote two tape lengths have been measured.
Repeat the same process until all the pins being held by the front tape man have been used up, which signifies 1 tally, and 1 tally is equal to 10 tape lengths. After a tally has been accomplished, the rear tape man returns all the 10 pins to the front tape man to proceed in measuring the length of the course, and will get 1 pebble, which indicates the number of tallies made. Upon reaching point B, the partial length must be measured accurately up to centimeters by the rear tape man, while the front tape man is holding the 0 mark at B, and both of them are holding the tape taut. All the data gathered must be recorded for all the computations later, then repeat the whole procedure until all the trials needed have met. To compute the total distance, the surveyor must get first the total number of full tape length, which is equal to the product of the tally and 10 meters plus the pins. The total distance then can now be solved by adding the partial tape length to the product of total number of full tape lengths and the length of one full tape length. Now to compute the mean distance, determine the sum of total distance divided by the number of trials. Lastly, to get the relative precision, determine the probable error of the mean, then divide by mean distance, and reduce the numerator to unity to determine the relative precision. So now, here's our sample computations for the level ground. Now for the irregular ground, the same course is measured, but this time the tape will be unsupported by the ground and must be held an eye level distance above the ground. Both the rear and the front tape man hold a plumb line over the center of the hub. The front tape man must hold his plumb line an arm length away from his body for the rear tape man to clearly see if it is aligned in the range pole at B. When the rear tape man approves the alignment, the front tape man holding the 0 mark pulls the tape taut and drops a plumb bob on the ground. This will mark the ground with a dent to guide the front tape man where he must place his marking pin. This is to be done continuously until point B is reached. Note that the partial length must also be measured just like the procedure for the even ground. The course is measured back and forth until the number of trials needed is completed. Then tabulate all the data. So here's our sample computation for the uneven ground. And that's it for our fieldwork number 2, taping over smooth or level and unlevel ground. Thank you!